I'm going to dive into the analytics. This is awesome because it's very, very straightforward and simple, but there are a lot of different ways to look at this. If I have suggested a skill and I just want to see how my class did for that, I am currently using this as a weekly grade. You're going to come into analytics. Again, it has all of the things on the drop down or across the top here, so depending on what you're wanting to look at. Right now it's just filtering by students. So if I look down here, this is going to give me a breakdown of each student and what skills they worked on this week, how many questions they answered, how many hours they spent, how many days they practiced, and where they are at. So if you notice this student was very proficient, this student was missing some things, all of that is there and available to view. If you come over to our scores and go to score grid, this is the most straightforward one for looking at students. It's going to give every single one of the skills and then all of the students with their score right underneath. Unfortunately, this is not very wide. They made it so it can be on all different sizes of displays, so you do have to scroll over to see. Once again, if you don't want to see all students, filter it by your class, going right here. You can even filter by a date range if you needed to, rather than the school year, and you can even look at it based on the skill plan or standard. So if you wanted to look at just their standard, this was super effective, super helpful when looking at standards-based grading. We can look at it specifically by standard and show their proficiency. Their SMART score is very relevant. You can look at it. This person spent 1 hour and 2 minutes and 53 questions to get there, while other students have spent much less, 38 minutes and 61 questions, 50 minutes. So you can really go through and dive into how much time just right by looking at it. How much time. If I click on the individual, it will show me that student. It will give me a breakdown of all of the different questions they answered, the questions they missed. This graph right here, you can see they did really well through the very first part, which is up to that 20. And then there was a lot of guessing, bum, and they still all the way through have really struggled to get anywhere past where they're at right now over these 5 sessions. This shows that they spent way longer than needed, so hopefully this would be someone that would want to ask some questions and really help out. But if you scroll down, you can actually see all of the questions. You can even toggle this right here by show missed questions only. And you can even hide the correct answer. So if you wanted to talk to them without them knowing what was the correct answer, you could go back through and you can talk them through why specifically these were. So small group, individual, a lot of different things. And again, you can now go through and look at this student based on these different things here. I'm just going to come back one more time to the score grid just to show you where everything is there. Again, I can sort by what level, I can sort by students individually, or I can sort by the class. Come down through and it will have all of the different classes, all of the different things available. So those are really great. You can look at just practice skills or currently suggested, so you can toggle right here. This is my currently suggested. I don't have to go searching through that whole thing. I can see it, switch my class, see it, go down through. There are a couple more things here that you can also look at when it comes to sorting. It's so great. They've set up the analytics so well to be able to understand really exactly where students are. The other one that I wanted to dive into on this video was the diagnostic area, because those are going to be the 2 most commonly used by all teachers. If you go to the recommendations wall, this is again what they will see. So this is the student, how many are suggested. And so this is something that is really great, especially in that K hour. The green, if they click on those, it will highlight any of them that are try something new. This is something at a higher level. This is at level J, so it's the next grade level. This is work it out, something they've already started working on because you practiced this one, work this out. Up next, this is going to be something that also is going to push them on to the next thing. There's a lot of great things in here. This person does not have the diagnostic done, or you would see a lot of them that would show it from the diagnostic arena here, and if you click on that, it will only pull up from the diagnostic arena. What I want to show you from their side is that we click on assessments to see this. They each will have a diagnostic chart. This person, if I go down to one that has diagnostic data, I come in here. This breaks down their diagnostic data. So this student has already completed it in the arena for language arts, but not for math. And you will notice it says keep diagnosing to reveal. These ones are not missing a lot, but over here, if you notice, these are missing quite a bit. This is at a second grade level towards the end of the year, and it automatically gives us two different things. Here's the short code, you can click on it here, and then here's the second skill. And these two skills are things that are missing for this student to be proficient in written strategy. Grammar also on the low end. We can come in, this one actually has 4 recommendations. They can work straight from these, and that will help them out. They can also go back to that recommendations wall. So if I went back in here and came to the recommendations wall and went to the same student, on this recommendation wall, you'll notice from the diagnostic arena. If I click on that, it now just toggled on only the diagnostic arena. You'll notice these are all language arts because they have the little book up here at the top. And now this student can come through and also find those diagnostic pieces right here as well. So they can go to a couple different places. They can go through and look at suggestions. Again, I would not recommend doing more than about 2 suggestions a week because it's going to get really congested here, but they can suggest by just teacher, and then they can also look at just the different skill, and we can look and see what that is. And then also they can look by just going towards the work towards these different pieces as well in there. So that's all available. In the analytics side, if you come in here and go to diagnostic overview, this is going to break down a couple different things for you. This first one is going to just do an overview of everyone. It's going to give all of their scores. Once it's a dot, that means their levels are defined. If it's a bar, that means they're still working towards it. Right here, these little bars show you who is where and what areas, and then you can actually break it down. If I wanted to just focus on who needs vocabulary, I can come in here, it will show me 5 groupings, and these are already grouped by level of working, so I can now be very specific and say, okay, I want to work with these individual students. I'm going to call them back again. You can filter this by class, or you can do all students. And you can see exactly for that hour, okay, I need 2 students, I need to call them back, we're going to work on this one. Here's that short code, so that way they can search it quickly and we can get on to the same. You could also go ahead and pull that into a group jam, and I'll try to adjust that in another video. That is one thing you can do in here to be able to see their different scores. Also, if you go to the standard or strand analysis from this, and you can go ahead and see breakdown. Let me see if it, okay, it did go into the strand analysis. I can also break it down that way as well. Another thing that can be looked at is this trouble spots. These are going to be students that are struggling in a specific area. It will automatically put them into groupings based on who is stuck. Out of this 4th hour, all of these students are stuck on this question type. I can start that group jam right here, or I can suggest this skill. Starting the group jam, if I click on it, it will open up a window where I can set the criteria if it's going to open. It's loading. And then from here, it shows waiting for all of these students. I can go in and remove them. Once they're in, we can work through the exact same problem at the same time. They can click and it will show you if they marked it wrong or not. We can move into review, and we can do all sorts of different things there to work with them. We can also end the jam. You could use that as a whole class or a group setting as well. I'll just show you what that looks like. That's going to be under my IXL group jam. And you can, again, filter it by class, and you can click on or off, just toggle anyone on or off, and then start a jam. You have to pick what skill you want to work on, and then you can have that be a reward if they answer so many correct or other things like that. It can be really good. So there's that final thing of analytics. I'll do one more video showing live classroom and just how to manage those last few things, and a little bit more here with the leaderboards as well.